Hey everyone, this is Chris from modding Arcade1Up. I've been gone for a few weeks, but I've been working on something that I've been pretty much teasing the entire time I've started this channel. I finally reskinned my Arcade1Up to look like a Killer Instinct cabinet. I'm ready to reveal it to you guys, so here we go.
Killer Instinct. Available for your home in 1995, only on Nintendo Ultra 64.
I'll start at the beginning. I ordered the art in early February, probably I think the 2nd or 4th or whatever. Something like that. It took about 3 weeks to get here. I ordered through Arcade Graphics, but they partnered with Escape Pod, and I think there may have been some kind of communication error because they didn't get me my art for weeks, and I kept having problems getting tracking, and then all of a sudden it showed up one day. If I could give you a tip right off the bat, it's going to be take that art out of the tube, unroll it, lay it upside down. Whichever way it curls up, lay it the opposite way, lay some books on it. It's going to be like a slinky trying to roll itself back up. It'll make it a whole lot easier when you go to apply it also. Now, I won't bore you with all the details of how I installed the art. I am going to say it was kind of a pain, I won't lie. It was a very tough task, and my wife did most of the work, if I'm being honest. I just was there to kind of hold stuff and apologize a whole bunch. A few things you should know is you will have to remove all of the buttons, the joysticks, everything's got to come off. That was kind of a pain in the butt since everything's wired up from underneath, so I had to remember where all the buttons plugged in. So once you get them off of there, that's good to go. I do strongly suggest you remove the marquee from the actual cabinet, and that's going to make it a whole lot easier to apply this art. This art is exact. I mean, there is not any overlap or whatever, so you have to hit it perfectly or you're going to see the old art behind it. This bezel was the hardest part, basically. I think they didn't print it properly, if I'm being honest. It just was, the bezel was not wide enough. It also had a lot of overlay. It came with a big white center that you're supposed to cut out. And that's perfectly fine, but the white center did not line up at all. There was black bars on either side, and it wasn't quite perfect top and bottom. Now, I did reach out to Arcade Graphics about this, and I sent a message to Escape Pod just trying to figure out who I'm supposed to ask about it. Arcade Graphics said he would check with Escape Pod. I never heard back from either of them. I just decided I was going to take care of it myself rather than potentially wait another 3 weeks to get this piece sent to me again. So what I ended up having to do was try and measure these sides of the actual bezel from the old art, basically, to see if it would cover it. We did our absolute best to trim out the middle of it. Because if you mess this up, obviously you're either going to have too much, which is good, or you're going to have too little, which is very bad. You can't come back from that. Either way, I have a gap showing on this side. What I did was fill it in with some Sharpie. If I could give you all one of my personal tips on this, if you're going to buy this art, I don't know if all the bezels come like this. I don't know if mine was a mistake, but if you do end up finding it doesn't fit all the way side to side, top to bottom, whatever, I would just strongly recommend you take a Sharpie, as long as your bezel is black, of course. But you take a Sharpie, outline the actual plexiglass with black all around here, maybe not so much down at the bottom. There was way extra. As you can see, you can't see all of the logo, so don't worry about that. I'd also suggest you do a thin layer around the actual screen. Be very careful, of course, not to get it on the part you're going to be looking through, but if you do that, you're going to be able to block out any potential bits that are going to be showing, basically. On this side, I had a very small amount. I had to go after the fact and put Sharpie over it, but it worked out, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. If this wasn't going to work, I already had a backup plan, which was to install maybe some carbon fiber vinyl and just cut it out. But I realized I was going to run into the same problem. I'd still have to be able to nail the measurement of how wide it needed to be of the actual screen, which is not a perfect square, of course. So it just became a hassle, and I just told my wife, let's go ahead and give this thing a shot. Thankfully, it worked out. I'd say I'm like 90% happy with how the bezel came out. There's just a few minor things that you probably can't even see on the camera, but I've touched it up with Sharpie to fix some of the problems. So I assume Arcade Graphics and Escape Pod did not work out as a partnership. I ordered this art direct from arcadegraphics.com. When I went back to look, it's no longer on the website. It's only on Escape Pod's website or eBay. And honestly, I would recommend just spending a little bit extra and ordering it from eBay. You get eBay's buyer protection. I know nothing about Escape Pod. I mean, they were somewhat helpful when I did message them here and there, but they did not get back to me about the bezel. I'll be really honest with you guys. So that way, if you have a problem, you have eBay's guarantee and they will get your money back for you. There's also PayPal that works with you on that. I personally think that would be the best way to go. Again, I can't say if they're a bad company. I'm not trash talking them or anything, but I don't know anything about them. If you know about them and you think it's okay to save the $20 and order direct, that's perfectly fine. That's up to you, of course. Overall, I am very happy that this project is finished. It's been a long one. It's been like 5 months since I started it. The main issue was there was no art available, so I couldn't order the art. So once it was available, I ordered within like the same day I think I found it. Now, I will admit, I can't call this finished yet. It's probably never going to be finished. You know, you think you've finished it. Oh, if I do this one more thing, this is going to be it. Well, I'm already looking at a lighted marquee, which means I've got to order that, of course. Got to install that, and that means I need to get this reprinted because this was just stuck on there. So I can't reuse that. So it's kind of like this project's never really going to be completely finished. I'm considering maybe doing the blue T-molding, which is basically just electrical tape you put over it. I've seen it on other videos, including 4 Co-op Pop's video. He's got a really cool cabinet. It actually has a real arcade board running in it rather than MAME or whatever. I'll link to his video in the description. Check that out. But he's got the blue T-molding, and I do like it, but again, I never really saw an arcade game that looked like that, and I'm trying to keep this as close to the original as possible. Now, of course, the graphics are not perfect. Like, we've got Spinal here. The Killer Instinct logo is kind of covered. Of course, this was never on the actual arcade game. There was a coin door there. But, you know, pick and choose, I guess. I think the blue looks good. It's just a matter of if I really want to dive into that or not. If you have any suggestions for mods on this cabinet, just leave it down in the comments, and I'll consider it. If there's something I'm not thinking of, let me know. Now, keep in mind, I do want to keep it very similar to the real cabinet. I definitely don't want light-up buttons or anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, I'm never removing this stuff again if I can avoid it. It's kind of a hassle to pull these joysticks out, and I'd rather not do it anymore. After installing the art, my wife was like, never do this again. She's been very helpful along the way, of course, but installing the art kind of did her in on it. She was like, 4 hours of this crap, I hate this. And so this will probably be the only one I get custom art on, at least for a long time. I'm still planning to buy the Mortal Kombat cabinet, but that already has the art. I'm not going to change that. This is a little bit of a new format for me. Standing here in front of the camera is not something I'm really comfortable with. I'm still flirting with the idea of getting webcams and doing a couple live streams. I think that really all depends on y'all if you're going to actually watch it. I've got to actually buy a couple webcams and learn how to stream multiple cameras, so that could be a little bit of a pain. If you've got suggestions on that, please leave it in the comments. That'll help me a ton. So what's next for me is this thing's never going to be done, so don't think the channel's kind of dead and I'm moving on. I'm going to keep making videos. As I record this, I'm going to record more playthroughs right after this so I can bank them and start editing them down the line and get them out. You can expect a Killer Instinct 1 playthrough on the hardest setting. I'm going to see if I can do a speed run on it. I'm also going to play Killer Instinct 2 all the way through. And I'm still trying to get a Mortal Kombat playthrough done, but Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 are just so difficult. I've recorded them before. They're over 30 minutes long, and I'm just like, no one's going to watch this thing at 30 minutes long, so I may have to get creative with the editing on that. So please click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the like button. It really helps people find the video and find the channel. I think I'm just going to play my arcade game.
Killer Instinct.